Hi folks, today's episode is going to be about the EGR system on T5s and T6s. Although EGR is a killer for the engine on the biturbos, on monoturbos it's not so bad and just requires maintenance. There are certain parts that go out of service after a bit of time, so there are leaking, and there is also a valve that fails as well. I'm going to be talking about this, just giving you a short overview and then talk about specific problems. As an example, I'll be showing the EGR system of my T6s, which both have CXFA engine. T5s are a little bit simpler because their EGR system is easy to get to. For T6.1s, the system is very similar to mine. The main component of the exhaust gas recirculation system is the EGR cooler, or heat exchanger. It comes with a valve that controls the gas flow. The EGR cooler is connected to the intake and exhaust manifold using the stainless steel pipes. Here is the full EGR system assembly from a Euro 6 T6 and T6.1 engines. This end goes into the intake. The engine exhaust gases are exiting through the exhaust manifold. The main volume of gas goes into the turbo, and there is also an appendix that the rear EGR pipe is connected to. Euro 6 T6s had a design problem with these rear pipes. The pipes start to leak in 99% of T6s, which causes smelly fumes entering the cabin. I will talk about this problem later in the video. This is an EGR cooler that has done 124,000 kilometers. The cooler seems to be fine and could potentially be a donor if my cooler starts to leak. It was bought by me as a unit with a failed EGR valve. So once the gases pass from the exhaust manifold to the EGR cooler, this is where the valve is controlling the gas flow. The exhaust is cooled by a water radiator inside and then exits through the front pipe into the intake. This bit here goes directly into the intake of the engine. Later in this video I will be showing how to replace this front pipe. This is at the back of the engine, and this is towards the front of the car. And this is closer to the driver, so it's extremely hard to get to, and the replacement takes a lot of courage because you can't really see what's behind the engine. The front pipe is a bit fiddly to tackle too, so I will be showing a tip on how to do it easier. And about the main unit here. I plan to clean the valve and see if it's still stuck or gets back to normal. Maybe a subject for a future episode. Interestingly, on T5 Euro 5 engines, the EGR valve can be purchased separately. The original valves are made by Pierburg. Unfortunately, this Pierburg valve for T6 is not available for sale as a separate item at the time of making this video. So if you have a faulty valve, you have to buy the whole assembly together with the heat exchanger. I hope it will become available as a separate unit later, just like it's available in T5s. And now a few words about the rear EGR pipe. As I mentioned, this pipe develops a leak in almost all Euro 6 T6s. The part you see here is the upgraded version that doesn't leak. Both of my T6s had to have these pipes replaced, and it's a nightmare job because it's behind the engine and very hard to reach. There is even a dedicated thread about this rear pipe on the T6 forum. Apparently T6.1s already came with the upgraded part, so T6.1 owners probably won't be facing this problem. Here you can see the old version of the pipe. Note how much thinner it is. Look at the corrugated part. You can see a dark spot where a leak started to develop. Now you see a replacement superseding version. The walls of the pipe are much more solid. The last two letters of the upgraded part number are BH. I will leave the part numbers for the kit in the description. The seals and bolts must be renewed at the time of pipe replacement. Unfortunately, the upgraded pipe alone costs over 100 euros. Here is a quick look at the assembly diagram. The torque setting for both sides is 20 Newton meters. And now to the front EGR pipe. I had one of these leaking as well, so I took a video of the replacement process. Initially, I thought that this leak caused the swishing sound when I started the car. But it turned out that this had nothing to do with it. In any case, it was worth to replace the pipe, since there was definitely a leak, as can be seen here, despite no apparent fume smells. Before attempting to remove the front pipe, I cleared up a bit of space by unscrewing and releasing the screen washer fill-up nozzle. The first bolts to remove from the EGR pipe are on the connection to the EGR cooler. The old bolts are using spline M8 bit. Notice how much the bolts have corroded. This was quite unexpected, as everything else around them looked decent. Once this side of the pipe is off, I plugged it with a cloth to avoid dropping something there. Second step was to unscrew the end that connects to the engine air intake. Torx T30 is used for this side. Removing the bolts here wasn't a problem, but putting them back later won't be easy. The bolts on this side were in perfect condition, however I replaced them as well. The trick is to remove the pipe without dropping the lower side bolt. Here is the old and the new pipe. I feel sorry for the engine. All this dirt gets sent straight to the cylinders. It looks scary. Let me know in the comments if you think it's a normal state of this pipe after 200,000 kilometers. After removing the pipe, I could finally remove both seals. On the intake side, it's a rubber seal. On the EGR cooler side, it's a stainless steel seal. The new kit I'm showing here contains all original parts. 2 seals, 4 bolts and the pipe itself. Quickly checking the torque settings. The EGR cooler side is 20 Newton meters. And the air intake side bolts are secured only with 8 Newton meters, which basically means tying up by hand. Interestingly, the front EGR pipe has also a superseding part number that ends with AR. The old pipe has AG as the last 2 letters. It seems Volkswagen also switched the factories from Germany to Italy and added an extra clip to the pipe. Let me know in the comments if you know what the purpose of this clip is. The new original bolts for the EGR cooler connection have also changed. The new ones are spline M6. The installation of the replacement kit goes in the reverse order. First go the seals, one for the EGR cooler connection, and after applying a bit of oil, the seal for the air intake side also went in. Pay attention to the notch on the seal to position it correctly. Getting the pipe back in is easy, but securing the lower bolt requires patience. Here I'm showing the optimal position, how to hold the bit driver while you're inserting the pipe and eventually screwing in that bloody bolt. It took me 3 hours to figure this out, but I could probably have been more successful if I secured the bolt to the bit with some insulation tape. To finish off, I am applying the right torque to the bolts on the EGR cooler side. And that's the job done. Thanks for watching and please don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.